I am a direct victim. I lived a sort of a fleeting feeling of justice when I heard the news that he was stopped in Turin and arrested. I had the feeling that justice finally could come. You have to imagine the waiting since 2019. Those who waited long before me, the Libyans who are victims to his criminal network, to his war crimes, have been wanting this day to come. But when it came, it was immediately extinguished hours before it could even truly be felt in our hearts and so on. I was coming to Europe, but I was on the central Mediterranean in 2019 when my boat was intercepted by the Libyan militias who call themselves the Libyan Coast Guard, and we were brought back to Libya. I was sent to Jida. This was my first encounter with this criminal, Ossama Anjiem. In Jida, we were stripped naked. We were searched. We were even taken some mugshots of us and some numbers as if we were really criminals. But what we will discover here is that this was not a place for migrants. It was a prison mixed with the Libyan militias, Libyan terrorists who were captured during the 2019 war. In this point, it was called Al Jidayda Rehabilitational Prison, which he is responsible for. So the days that followed, in which I was detained in Al Jidayda, he personally gave order and forced us to construct houses, to construct the neighboring facility. On the days when I couldn't do the service, he would give immediate orders to lock me inside an isolation cell in Jidayda, and he would kick me with his feet. From this point, or he had a pipe in his hand, which he was usually wiping people, not only me, but a lot of people. In March 2020, he would give order, and days before that, we were isolated. We were locked into cells where he threatened us with a small shotgun with the pistol that he had. That if we don't do what he's asking us to do, we know that we will never survive. We will never get out of here. So the days that followed, they put us into a military vehicle and drove us away. What they told us is that they're going to deport us back to our country. So we were going to the airport. It was not a long distance until we found ourselves in what I will identify later on as Mitiga Air Base. This Mitiga Air Base, during this period of the 2019 and 2020 civil war, was under heavy militarization of the radar deterrence forces. So Osama Jim personally would give me as a tool to the radar extremists in Mitiga. It's a loss in the international community itself. It's a loss in the call for justice, because usually the things that are whispered in our ears as victims, we are told that there is an international community. There is an entity which has been initiated, elected up in order to fight for our rights, to make sure that there is accountability and justice. But when it comes inside the territory of Europe here, where it should have been very swift to make sure that such actors do not exist and roam Europe freely, in the contrary, this is what is happening. It's a betrayal that I can say it's beyond betrayal. It's a complicity of the Italian government, of the Rome Statute, of the European network in general. How would this happen that the flight was even allowed to take him back to Tripoli, where he's been received as a hero? It's a whole chain of network which exploits, which uses the workforce of migrants. They are using them in different sections. So the influx of refugees from Sudan now has even exacerbated the situation. Many are victims of rape, many are victims of torture, many are victims of enslavement, many are victims of incarceration, arbitrary detention, which is a deliberate act supported by the Italian government with the finances, with the detention systems that you look at. We can mention innumerable places. Nzara, for example, which this guy, Osama J, is also heading, the Nzara Detention Center, the place which is a concentration camp for thousands of my comrades. This is very evident that no Italian government, no European government, with all whatever the secrecy that they are trying to do, is really aiming to fight the human trafficking hubs. No,